Hey everyone, it's Jason. Today we're going to do an unboxing component video for Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Mayhem card game. So this is the base set. Comes with 4 different characters. Then they've released another hero expansion with 2 more characters for the battle at Boulder's Gate. And then finally they released a big box set, where you get to play as 6 monsters. So rather than do this in 3 separate videos, I'm just going to do this one full video because the cards are very simplistic. I mean, there's definitely some depth to the game, but I think I can just do them all in one and not have 3 separate little videos for them. Because I think if you like the base game, you're probably gonna go out and buy the rest of them. What's also neat is because you can actually buy the base game as 4 characters. You could potentially buy the expansion and just play one-on-one versus each other. Or you can buy the full box set here of the monsters, and there's 6 monsters in there. So you could play, anywhere from 2 to 6 players against each other that way. And then the box actually holds everything as well, which is the other reason I'm going to show them all off. So let's just hop into these. Yes, this is a fun little... I guess I can't specify for sure. It's been fun since I haven't played it, but definitely looks fun. So I'm gonna play. It's a free-for-all battle game. So you're gonna get 4 different decks. Each class or character has their own deck. So we have the Silva Skull Crusher, who's the Barbarian class. Azan the Mystic, who's the Wizard. Leah the Radiant, the Paladin, and Oryx the Cleaver, who's the Rogue. And they're going to be different colors and stuff, which make it really easy to figure out how to do them. Game setup is fairly simple. You just choose one of your decks. You take out their hit point tracker, which could be one of their cards. Set aside some hit points. You put it on hit 10. You have 10 health. Shuffle your deck, and you can set aside your 1 rule card. And that's, there you go. And then you play. You draw a card, and then you play a card. But what you do is you get to play 1 card, but there are potential ways that you might get to play more cards. But you always have to play at least 1. And basically what you're trying to do is just either set up defenses for yourself or damage your opponent. Then once you're done playing any cards you played, you put all the cards you played in your discard pile unless they have the defense symbol. They just stay on the table to protect you, and then the next player goes. You can play all your cards. Whether it's the end of your turn and you played your last card, or the middle of your turn and you can play more cards, you immediately get to draw 2 more cards. So if you have something that lets you... So if your deck and you only have... so if you only have 2 cards in your hand, and you get to play... You play 1, and it lets you play 3 more cards, so you play the other 1 in your hand. You get to draw 2 more cards. And if your deck runs out, you just shuffle it up and you keep doing that. Fairly simple. You just basically, if your deck ever runs out, you just reshuffle it, your hand runs out, you immediately get to draw 2 more cards, so you can see what you can do with those 2 cards. If those run out again, draw 2 more cards, keep going until you can't play any more cards. Each player starts with 10 hit points. Whenever a card deals damage to a player, they lose hit points, unless they have a defense symbol. When you take damage, move your hit points down until you're knocked out. Each card deals damage to your opponent, and try to take any damage yourself. The game ends, and the 1 player is still in the game, they're the winner. Sometimes a card can knock out many players at the same time. If there are no players left in the game, it's a tie, so get ready to battle. It seems like it's going to be a fairly quick game as well. I don't know if they have the time on here. Sometimes they list like how long these games are. Yeah, it says like 10 minutes to play. So even if you're playing like a 6-player game, it might take a little bit longer just because you have 6 people doing stuff. But if you're playing a 4-player game or even a 2 or 3-player game, if you get eliminated, it's not going to be that big of a deal, I don't think. You're going to get to go pretty quick again, like the game's going to restart. So you have symbols on your cards. You have the swords for attack. Each one sword on a card does 1 damage. Some will have a defense shield. Each defense shield will stop 1 point of damage. And if you have more than 1 shield, you can put a damage token on there, just to represent that 1 damage has been used up. And if an attack deals more than enough damage to destroy 1 defense card, and the extra damage goes through to other defense cards, the last defense, it goes straight through to you. So, if someone's maybe familiar with like Magic the Gathering, you can't chunk block, which means you can't put a 1 defense shield in front of a 3 attack and block all 3 of it. It'll essentially have, again, using Magic terms, it would have trample. So if you can do 3 damage, it'll deal 3 damage to any number of shields that you, the person you're attacking has, and then it'll go on to that player. But you have to destroy the shield cards first. They show some good little easy examples right there. So you deal 1 damage to that, and then 2 to the player. Fairly simple. Some cards will have the little extra card with a plus symbol, which lets you draw another card, so you get some more in your hand. Some will have a heart with a plus symbol that lets you heal 1 point, although you can never heal more than 10. And then a lightning bolt lets you play again. So this is where you get to play extra cards. You might have something that lets you play 1 or 2 extra cards on a turn. Maybe like you draw a card and play a card. And it says your turn will end until you have played a card for each lightning bolt symbol you have used. You play cards in your hand before finishing your play section. Draw 2 more cards. Keep going. And so some cards have more than 1 kind of symbol on them. When you play one of those symbols, you get to use all the different symbols. The stipulation for this would be you have to do. If it has a heal symbol, you have to heal. Has a draw, you have to draw. If it has a play symbol, you have to play a card. Which therefore you might want to watch what you're doing, because I know some of the characters have cards that might damage them. They might, like, you take 1 point of damage to do like 3 to somebody else or something like that. So if you have that in your hand, you have to play it if that's the only card left. So you kind of gotta be careful on some of them. You might end up hurting yourself. And then there's some frequently asked questions. There's also mighty powers. And each character has some special abilities that are unique to that character. When you play one of those cards, just do whatever it says. And that's really how simple this game is. You draw a card, play a card, keep going. You might get to play multiple cards, and then you get to go. So I just want to pull out the Monsters Madness one, which is just going to have the other decks. I'm not going to go through the characters just yet. I'll still go through deck by deck. I just want to point out the 5 to 6 player rule, as long as we're talking about rules. So if you either buy the big monster set, which has all 6, or if you buy the base game plus the other hero expansion, or if you buy all of them and you want to play more players, here's what they recommend doing if you're playing with 5 or 6 players. Is first of all, have a zone of influence. So each player can only target the player to their left or right with regular attacks. Mighty power cards can target any player, even if it has the symbols on them. When only 4 players remain, continue to use the zone of influence. Be sure to play your full game with these rules. So what this is allowing you to do is, so that if you're playing 6 players, 5 or 6 players, you can't keep constantly picking on one person. It makes you have to only do your basic attacks to the person to the left or right of you. Therefore, they can kind of defend that way. And then if, like, you eliminate, and that's showing here, if you eliminate player C, so player B can still attack A, which is to one side of them, and then they can attack D. And then this player over here can attack, either direction as well. You should basically just skip whoever got eliminated, but it just keeps you from being able to gang up. Like, if you're playing a multiplayer game, everyone can't gang up on one person across from the table. You could use this in just a regular 4-player game if you want to, so you have to attack the people, or even a 3-player game. You could be like, you have to attack the person to the left or right. You can't, so that way neither player can gang up on one person completely. Although if a 3-player game, I guess you could always say we're going to attack the one guy. So it'll really be a 4, 5, or 6, I suppose. Then the other rule they added in here is Eventual Ghosts. So when a player gets knocked out, they become Eventual Ghosts. They no longer draw or play cards and cannot win. On each Eventual Ghost turn, they deal 1 damage to other players still in this game. To one of the players. This ignores zone of influence and can deal lethal, but cannot deal lethal damage and cannot attack players with 1 point. And this is to keep that person in the game, especially if you're playing 5 or 6 players. Like something happens and they get knocked out in like round 2. At least it gives them something to do. But it also doesn't let them. It also speeds the game up a little bit. And you can still do this in a 3-player or 4-player game very easily. Just to keep that person in. It just lets them on their turn deal 1 damage, but they can't kill someone. So they can kind of get like a little bit of revenge on whoever killed them, if they'd like. So that's, just wanted to point that extra ruling out. Because otherwise, if I went to the book for Monsters of Madness, it's the exact same. It's going to tell me the exact same stuff. Get ready, time for mayhem, hit points. Like, it's the exact same stuff in there. The only thing they do have is a bunch of frequently asked questions in here, but most of these are specific towards that deck, or for the characters in there. And the same thing with this expansion. If I pulled out the instructions, they're going to be the same. So I'm not going to re-go through the instructions for each deck. But now you have the idea of what you can do. And now that we'll look at the cards, you'll get a little bit better idea. So we're going to have some little tokens here. You can use these to keep track of stuff. It's all the different hit point damage. You can use your character space as track on your health tokens. And on the back, it'll have their name. Every deck is color coded, which is really nice. So you can just quickly tell what's what. I will point out though, in the box though, they fit in here nice and snug. If you just buy the base game, or if you buy your single player expansion, they fit in the little tuck box. The only problem is going to be is if you like to sleeve your cards, they will not fit in there sleeved. I'm not for sure on the big box set if they'll fit in there sleeved yet, but we will find out by the end of this video because I will check. So we're going to have our 4 decks. So we're going to start with we have our red, yellow, purple, and green decks. And there's a lot of duplicate cards. So it's not like there's, should say how many cards? 28 card decks. Yeah, so it's not like there's all the same cards over and over, but it's also not 28 different cards. So you're going to start off. So if we're looking at our, I'm going to grab my sheet here because I already forgot about Selthra Skull Crusher, the Barbarian. So she's going to have 1 card picture on her back. She's going to have her health. So there's that. Sorry, we don't have so much glare on there. And then they're going to, every character's also going to have a basic card. So it's going to show blocks 1 damage, draw 1 card, deal 1 damage, play extra. And it's going to specify what their specific mighty power cards do. Just a little reference card so you can... Oh! And my easel fell over. So you can just keep track of that. And I'm not going to read those off because we'll get that. So she has... Alright, well that card can stay right there. 2 axes are better than 1. There, get rid of some later. So this will let you take 2 extra actions, which is really helpful. So she gets 2 of those, and I think they have 2 of most of these. Well, there she has 1 snack time. Draw 2 cards, gain a health. 2 copies of flex health, and draw a card. She gets to open the armory, let her draw 2 more cards. 2 copies of headbutt, let her do some damage and play again. And then she gets to start dealing some damage with Brutal Punch. Does 2 damage. Big Axe's Best Axe. 2 of those. Or shit, 3 of those. And 4 of those. And 5 of those. I guess just 5 of those. So not every character has just 2 of each. I thought that's how it was. That actually makes it that cool. She has just 3 attack each. She gets 2 copies here of Rage, which does 4 damage. It looks like she has a little buddy. She has Riff. She gets 2 different artworks for him. Just 3 defense. She gets a Spike Shield, which also gives her 2 defense. She has a Bag of Rats. 1 defense. She gets to draw a card. And then her Mighty abilities, which will actually have the yellow. So that's how you can tell them apart. So, it's going to break one, destroys 1 shield card in play. So that's its special symbol. It's going to show it down there because it's not unique to every character. Not to say there's not going to be other characters that don't have that symbol as well. Just put that one's unique to her. Is not common to everybody. So it actually says down there, destroy 1 shield in play, then draw 1 card. And she's got 2 of those. Oh, and we're full on there, so let's do that. She's got Battle Roar. Each player, including you, discards their hand and draws 3 cards, and then Lightning Bolt. You get to draw again, or play again. And she's got 2 of those, and she's got 2 Whirling Axes. Would say you gain plus health per opponent, then deal 1 damage to each opponent. So that's actually kind of cool too. Playing 6 players, you gain 5 health and you can deal 1 damage to everybody. Alright, so that is our Barbarian. Next up is Azan the Mystic, which is the Wizard class. Kind of funny that he's called the Mystic, but then he's a wizard. So we're going to get his, of course, yellow card. His special rules. You just suck it there. I mean, I don't really need to read them too much. So he's got 2 copies of Evil Sneer, so health in play again. Knowledge is power. He's got 3 of those just to draw 3 more cards. 1 copy of Mirror Image, gains him 3 defense. Stone Skin, gains him 2 defense. He's got 2 shields, gain him a defense and draw a card. He gets some attack cards. He's got 2, 3, 4 lightning bolts, which do 3 damage. And 3 burning hands, which deal 2 damage. He's got good old magic missile. He's got 3 of those, which deal a damage and let him play again. Speed of thought. He's got 3 of those, which are going to let him play 2 more times. And you might be like, and this thing, you might look and say, like, if I'm already playing 1 card and this lets me play another card, essentially, you could look at saying you're losing a card. You're only gaining 1 bonus of it. You've already played 1 card. I could have just played a different card instead, and and that's a thought. Except for the thing is, if you run out of cards, you get to draw 2 more. So, like, the more turns, more you get to play in a row, you might potentially run out of your hand, and then you get to play extra. You get to draw more cards, get more options. We have 2 copies of Vampiric Touch. So this is a special, which says swap your hit points with an opponent. We have 2 copies of Charm for his mighty power. It says take a shield card that an opponent has in play, it protects you now. Kind of funny because you could charm like a non-animal. Then we have Fireball. Does 3 damage. Each player, including you, takes 3 damage. And now these are cards you have to watch out for if you have to play again, because if your health got too low and you were forced to play this, because it's the only card in your hand, you have to take the 3 damage. You might end up KOing yourself. Up next, we have Leah the Radiant, who is our paladin. Of course, we get our red card, and we get our special abilities. Now, she only has 2 different symbols. Here she's got a copy of Cure Wounds, just to draw 2 and heal. She's got 3 copies of Divine Smite, 3 damage, and she gets to heal. 3 copies of Fighting Words. She just deal 2 damage and then heal. For the Most Justice, does 3 damage. Even More Justice, she gets 4 copies of that. She does 2 damage, and then just for Justice, which looks like I read them backwards. She gets 3 of those, she gets 1 damage just to play again. She has a Divine Shield. She gets 2 of them, which are 3 damage, or 3 blocks, rather. She's got 1 copy of Fluffy, her horse. She gains her 2 defense. Spinning Parry. 2 copies with a defense and a draw card. The Finger Wag of Judgment. She's got 2 of them, which just lets her play twice. High Charisma. Gets her to draw 2 cards. And then her special cards, she has Bashing Smite. Destroy all shield cards in play, including yours. Then play again. Ooh, that's nice. That's powerful, too. Divine Inspiration. Choose any number of cards in your discard pile and put them in your hand. And then heal twice. And she's the second one of them. She doesn't get 3 different ones, but she gets 2 of the same ones. But they're both really good, because you can choose any card. To really have Beginner's Guide to Saving the Day. Alright, and then finally we have Oraxis the Cleaver, who's our rogue. So we're gonna get his card. Oh. There is his. Yep, so we're gonna see like destroy shield symbol again. So yeah, so some of these will overlap. I don't know how much they'll overlap in all of them. But we've got Cunning Action. It says how to make friends and betray them. He's got 2 actions. Even More Daggers. So you got 2 draw and a heal. 2 copies of Stolen Potion. Heal and play again. My Little Friend. Gets him 3 defense. 2 copies of the Goon Squad. Gets him 2 more defense. You can summon a Winged Serpent. Or 2 of them. Defense and draw card. He's got all the Throwing Daggers. He's got 3 of those. Gets him 3 attack. He's got a couple copies. 1, 2, 3. 4 copies of 2 Throwing Daggers. Gets him 2 attack. He's got 2, 3, 4, 5 copies of 1 Throwing Dagger. This guy has a lot of daggers. So 1 attack and a play again. His Mighty Power cards are Sneak Attack. Destroy 1 shield and play, then play again. He's got 2 copies of that one. He's got 2 copies of Pickpocket. Steal the top card of any player's deck and play it. And then with this, like, a rule clarification would be, once you play it, it goes back into their discard pile. And he's got 2 copies of Clever Disguise. None of your opponent's cards can affect you or your shields until the end of your next turn. Ooh, so you get a dodge for an entire turn. I would imagine the only time this doesn't apply is the effects that say target everybody. Because if I'm using like Magic the Gathering type rules, which I am talking D&D game, but I don't play D&D, so I don't know. I can't say I know all those rules, but I know like Magic the Gathering. But like with that is, if something targets and it says it can't be targeted, then it can't work if it specifies a thing, but if it's a global effect, it still hits something that can't be targeted. Alright, so that was the base game. I just lost a hit point. So I'll get you 4 characters. So if you're interested, there's 4 different decks. They're very different, but very same at the same time, because there's not a lot of differences until you get to the mighty cards. But that keeps them kind of the same. So let's jump in and look at the first expansion. Alright, and the first expansion is going to be 2 more heroes. It's for the battle at Boulder's Gate. And so I'm not positive, because I don't know all the D&D lore. I don't know if the 4 characters from the base set are just like random characters that they created, or if they're actual like named characters in the story. But this one, I know that for sure. I imagine both of these are actually characters that are in the stories. So, because I know who Minsk is, who's this guy here. So he is Minx and Boo, which is a little mousy sidekick. And he's our ranger, which we didn't have. And Jahara, the girl on the side, Jahara. She's our Druid shapeshifter. So they're gonna have their own stuff as well. So yeah, you could just buy this one. You're gonna get your tokens for your health and stuff like that. You could just buy this one and play these 2 against each other. You wouldn't have to necessarily buy a full set. Maybe that's a quick way to go if you just want to see what the game is. But let's look at what we got here. So we have Boo and Minsk. Who again is our... What did I say he was? I already forgot. My brain is not working. He's a ranger. Alright, so we're going to have... we want to look at... So there's his card. He's got a couple of different new powers. So he's got some allies here. Krydel and Shandy. Get you 3 defense. He's got Time to Punch Evil, 2 attack and play again. He's got 3 copies of Squeaky Wheel Gets the Kick, attack and play again. 2 copies of Justice Waits for No One, gets to play twice. 3 copies of Twice the Smiting, gets him 2 attack. He's got 3 copies of Go for the Eyes, Boo. He throws Boo, his little mouse friend, at a player, and he gains 3 attack. He's got Someone Hold My Rodent. It's just some 2 attack and some health. He's got a lot of attack here. 2 copies of Boo, What Do We Do? How to Avoid Certain Doom. So lets him draw twice. A copy of Wrap It Up. He gets to heal and draw again. 2 copies of Minx Mighty Mount. It gives him 2 defense. 2 copies of Pale Priestess Neres. Gets him a defense and a health. And then his power cards. He's got his mighty powers. He's got 2 copies of Scouting Outing. Draw a card from the top of each opponent's deck. So this is kind of neat. You get extra cards, but then once you play them, they go back to their discard pile. He's got Favored Frenemies. Got 2 copies of that. It says, your attack cards deal 1 bonus damage this turn, and then you get to draw again. So Blue Shields is just 1 extra damage. Which that's only going to work, though, if you play something that lets him play a card again. Which he gets 1 extra, but if you could play something that lets him play multiple, it can become really powerful. And Swappertunity. Each player gives their hit points total to the player on their right. That's definitely an interesting one. Alright, so that was Minx, the Ranger. Then we are going to look at Jahara, the Druid Shapeshifter. So she's going to have a couple different abilities, some with turning into bear and wolf form. So we'll see what those do. So if I want to do... Does she have a card? Yeah. So I'm going to look at her power cards first. I'm only doing this opposite direction because she has special cards. So she has Shapeshift. She has 2 copies of Shapeshift Wolf form. Which lets you do 2 attack. And then it lets you put her into play. So stays into play as to show that you're in wolf form. So you only have 1 form in play at a time. Oh, sorry, she has 3 copies of that. And then she has 2 copies of Shapeshift Bear form, which let her gain 2 health. And then she's in bear form. So those are kind of neat. So you get those, and then she also has 2 copies of Commune with Nature. You get to draw 2 cards, and it says you may play a form card for free. So those are her couple different cards. So what's also unique about her deck is because depending on which form you have, you get to do different stuff, which is why I showed them off first. So we have 2 copies of the Gift of Sylvanus, which lets you do 2 damage. And then if you're in bear form, so you have a little bear wolf symbol there, it says you gain health if you're in bear form, or if you're in wolf form, you gain an attack. So depending on which form you're in, you gain one of those 2 bonuses. If you're not in either for some reason, then you just have the regular attack. She got 2 copies of Druidic Bounce, health, draw a card, and attack. Druid, she can use some nature abilities. She can call lightning, get her 3 attack. Ooh, she's got a 3rd one. The cards got messed up here at some point. She's got 3 copies of Thorn Whip, which gets her an attack and play again. She's got Quick as a Fox. She's got 2 of those. Lets her play 2 more turns. She's got 2 copies of Wild Rush, which lets her draw 2 cards and then either gain a health or an attack, depending on which form she might be in. The Eldest Elk gets her 3 defense. She's got 1 of those. She's got 2 copies of Poochie, gains her a defense and an attack. She's got 2 copies of Bernard, gains her 2 defense and either a health or an attack, depending on which form she is. Instead, the book says The Joys of Honey. And then her other mighty card, which I missed, she actually gets more mighty because she has a 2 shapeshifting, which has the animal noise symbol and draw again. It says you may make an animal noise to attack each opponent and then play a card. And I think the rulebook says what animal noise. You can growl if you're a bear, howl if you're a wolf. You can make a horse sound. It doesn't really care. And honestly, and I know people that play some of these games, I don't want to make animal noises. You don't have to. It's really up to your playgroup. And how immersive you want to be, I suppose. But yeah, that's making animal noise to attack each opponent, and then you get to draw or play again. Alright, so that was our different decks. And on the back of each deck, so the player cards and the health cards are going to have their symbols, but then the rest of the decks are blank. They're just the different colors. But I do like the fact that every deck is a different color, even like purple, pink, just because it helps differentiate them really quickly from each other. So that was our expansion, Battles of Baldur's Gate. So if you want 2 more characters, there's definitely something to get into. Then finally, we're going to look at the big box set, which came out last. And not saying they might not come out with more stuff later. This is just the newest one that's out. Which is Monster Madness. So it lets you play as 6 monsters. So now you could play as 6 heroes or 6 monsters. Which I think is really fun. I always like getting to play monsters. So then this is going to, I'm going to pull some of this stuff out quick. Just so we can see what's in the box. So in the box, we're going to have little holders here. And we're going to get some divider sheets. So what this box comes with is these big sheets. You have your health tracker token and little dividers and some health things. Now you can pop one of these out, which I just haven't done yet. And I like that they're double-sided. So it's like there's the front of them and there's the back. But then we can slide one of these. Slide one of them in there. And then now if I took, for example, Jahara's deck, I can slide it in between one of these, which actually goes on this side. And if I had another one popped out, try and do this one-handed without wrecking it. It's going to give you nice little dividers. For each one, you can easily see what character it is. You can grab them out fairly easily, without having to like pull everything out. So it's kind of neat. It gives you a divider for every single character. The only thing I'll have to see is if there's enough room for sleeve cards in there. They look pretty tight, but we'll check that out before the end of the video, and I'll add that in there. But that's definitely a neat component, and it comes with dividers for all of the other characters as well. So it's not just like you're getting them for that. So once you buy this, you can fit all these characters. There's the only thing that makes me wonder if they're not planning on doing any more characters, because this box only holds enough, I think, just for these characters. But maybe they're just going to release, you know, bigger boxes or something after that. Who knows for sure. I guess all we can do is wait and find out. And then it also comes with, which goes in that one spot, is a token box. So this is where you can drop all your little health icons and all your health tokens. You just drop them in there, close this up, and that fits right in the front of the beginning there. So now it's all right in one box. It's really cool. So you can just take this game. Oh, who do you want to play as? It's all right there, ready to go. We are going to have 6 characters. We have Lord Cinderpuff, the Dragon, Hoots McGoots, the Owlbear, Dr. Tentaclus, the Mind Flayer, Blorp, the Gelatinous Cube, Delilah Deathray, the Beholder, and Mimic Chase, the Mimic. So we're going to have all those different ones. Let's open these up and see what we got. Alright, so the first one I grabbed was Delilah Deathray, the Beholder. So just like all the other characters, they're going to have their health. And then they're going to have their power cards. So these are all brand new symbols showing off what they do. So let's hop in here and see what we can do. So she's got 3 copies of Laser Show. Which lets you do an attack and play again. 2 copies of Make It Work. 2 health and just draw a card. A copy of Me, Myself, and I. Health and draw a card. She can multitask for 2. Does 2 damage and gets to heal. Tyranny of Beauty, attack, health, and play another card. How about even her little eyeballs have sunglasses. 2 copies of Mirror Mirror, just to draw 2 defense, sorry. I misread that. 2 copies of Double Trouble, just to attack twice. She's got 2 copies of Fashion Police for 3 defense. Cuter Than You, 1 copy, just to draw 2 cards. The Beauty Barrage, she's got 3 of those, lets her do 3 attacks. Raise for Days, gets her 2 more attacks, 2 more actions rather. And then her Mighty Power cards, she has 3 copies of Death Ray, which say, deal 2 damage to each opponent with no defense cards in play, then destroy all defense cards in play, including yours. So you gotta do some good damage there. She's got 2 copies of Charm Ray. It says, until your next turn, choose the target of all attack cards. So that could be beneficial for you trying to, take out certain people. And then, or maybe just defend yourself. And she has 2 copies of Praise Me. So, draw 3 cards. Then each opponent can choose to praise your greatness. 2 attack to those who choose not to. So that's kind of funny. So that way, so I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'll praise you and I won't do 2 attack. I mean, there's no downside really for them not to do it. It's kind of interesting. Alright, so that is our Beholder. Next we have Hoot Magoots, the Owlbear. Some of these iconic creatures. I don't play D&D, but I do know of lots of these characters, so why I was interested in this. So he's got 3 brand new abilities. Alright, we have 3 copies of Send in the Clowns. Gets him a defense and a play again. This set looks a little bit more goofy than the original one. So 2 copies of Talk to My Agent, which gives him 3 defense. 1 Intermission, which lets him draw 2 cards. 2 copies of Strong as a Bear, 2 damage, or 2 attack and 1 heal. But he's wise as an owl, lets him draw 3 cards. He's got 2 Crushing Hugs, does 2 damage, but then gains 2 health. Hooch the Fan Club, 2 of those, gets him 2 defense and a health. Copy of Made You Look, does 2 draw and lets you play again. Look Out Below, it's got 2 copies of that, does 2 damage. Very, very fast. It's got 4 copies of that. Attack and play again. He's like a circus performer is what it looks like. So, Grand Finale, he gets 3 attack. He's got 2 copies of them. And his Mighty Power cards, he's got 2 copies of For My Next Trick. Until your next turn, your attacks hit all opponents. And then you get to attack. And play again. That could get really powerful. 2 copies of Owlbear Boogie. Each player may do a little dance and then draw a card. You draw a card for each player who danced. So it's kind of, again, you could ignore the dancing part and you could just say, who wants to draw a card? If they do, you get to draw a card. It's up to your group. And 2 copies of To the Face. So it says destroy a shield card and then attack for each starting shield on that card. Let's see if they have a rule for that one. Nothing that specifies it. Okay, that's fine. I was just double checking quick to see if they had oh wait, here, To the Face. References starting shields. What does that mean? The starting shield references the total number of shields that appear on the card. When the counting, okay. Starting shield references, I'll actually put it right here for you. Starting shield references the total number of shields that appear on the card. When counting starting shields, ignore damaged tokens. So, that's just saying any number of shields that would be on a card, regardless if they've been, destroyed or not. Not necessarily the first shield on the card. Alright, so there's our second character of 6. Let's hop into the other 2. Ooh, we're going to do our Mind Flayer next. Who was Dr. Tentaclus, the Mind Flayer. So this should have some interesting cards. If I can pick them back up. Alright, so there's our Mind Flayer. And he's going to have, of course, his is a brown deck. He's got 3 new symbols. They've only had that one that's crossed over, which is kind of cool. That they made a bunch of unique ones. So we have a copy of Receptionist, which gets you 1 defense and 1 attack. 2 copies of Enthralled Thrall, gets you 2 defense. Just a Nibble, he's a giant nutcracker. Brain bib, I love it. 1 draw a card and 1 health and play again. 3 copies of Puppet Therapy, defense and 2 attack. A copy of Relax After Work, gets him to draw 3 cards. Diagnosis Evil, he's got 3 of those, gets him to draw a card and do 2 attack. Super Ego Whip, he's got 2 of those, it's going to do 3 damage, 3 attack. He's got 2 copies of Sip Tea, gains him 2 health and draw a card. Makes more sense, he's kind of a brainy character, so he's going to draw a lot. The Insuation, he's got 3 of those. He's supposed to be like a therapist. Like how each one is like a monster, but they have their own job class too. So like, Beholder was like a makeup artist, or a costume designer. The Owlbear is a circus performer. The Mind Flayer is a therapist. So he's got 1 damage and 1 play again. He's got Ego Whip, 2 of those. He gets to do 2 damage. A PhD in Psychology, he's got 2 of them, which lets him play twice. And then his power cards, he's got 2 Mind Blasts, which say a damaging opponent once for each card they have in their hand to a max of 5 damage. That's half of their health. That could really hurt someone. He's got Tell Me About Your Mother, 2 copies of those. Add the top card of each opponent's discard pile to your hand. And then 2 copies of Mind Game. Swap your hand with an opponent's hand. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, I like how they're monsters, but then they have like their jobs. Like, they're not just monsters when they're out fighting in the dungeon. Here's their day jobs. Now we're gonna look at Blorp, the gelatinous cube. I love gelatinous cubes. This one's gonna make me happy to play as. So he's got a couple of different cards there, or effects. I think we've seen the ignore defense one. So he's got cubes have feelings too. He's got 2 of those, and he's crying. 1 health and play again. Cleric a la Slime. He's got 2 copies of that. So 2 damage and 1 health. I think he's gonna have a picture for all the different classes. So Arcane Appetizer, 2 copies of those. He does 2 damage and gets to draw a card. He's got Open Wide, draw 2 cards and play again. He's got a bow in there. Acid Burp, deals 1 damage, and gains 1 play again. He's got 2 copies of those. 2 copies of Sugar Rush, gets to draw 2 cards. 3 copies of the fastest Cube Alive. He gains 1 attack, draw again, or draw a card and gain 1 health. We have the D6 of Doom. He's got 2 copies of that. I like how the skulls make his dice up. That's funny. 2 attack. 3 copies of Combat Cubed. Gets him 3 damage. 2 copies of Slime Time. Lets him play twice. Oh, and I was sitting there like, oh, he's got this little elfie type friend. And then sadly, he's got former friend. Gains him 2 defense. Then now he has his power cards, which are 2 copies of Burped Up Bones. It says, when this card is destroyed, deal 2 damage. So he gains 3 shields. And then when it's destroyed, you just do attack twice. He's got 2 copies of Here I Come. It says, during your turn, your attack cards ignore defense. And then you get to do 3 damage. Oh, that's nice. And then his final one is he has 2 hugs, which get him destroy a shield card and then heal for the starting shields on that card. So if you destroy one with 3, you can gain 3 health, or 1, you gain 1 health. That's cool. Alright, that's our gelatinous cube. Alright, so we got 2 more to go here. We're going to do our dragon next, who is Lord Cinderpuff. Lord Cinderpuff the Dragon. And there's his card, same as everyone else. This is black. Ooh, where's his, sometimes that happens, they get mixed around. Looks like he's got 3 brand new symbols as well. So we have Evil or Sneer. 2 copies of that, which are going to gain 1 health and to play again. A Peaceful Nap. He's sleeping money under his bed. Draw 3 cards. 2 copies of Investment Opportunity. Oh, she's like a stockbroker, like a banker. That's funny. Yeah, the Gladys Cube didn't really have a job. He was just kind of like a playful little guy. But yeah, he's like a market business guy. That's funny. So 1 health and draw a card. He's got 2 copies of Wisdom of Ages. So he can draw 2 cards. Make money, eat people. Who his defense card. 2 of them are Wall of Money, which lets him defend twice. He's got 1 Mob of Lawyers, which lets him defend 3 times. He's got 2 copies of the Kobold Maid, which we saw this one in the Owlbear card. Hooch Magoots. So he gains 1 defense and 1 attack. 3 copies of Ancient Anger. Attack and play again, because his markets are down. 2 copies of Tooth and Claw. Lets him have 3 attack. 2 copies of Wing Buffet. Gives him 2 attack. 2 copies of Bull Market. Gains him 2 replay. And then he has 2 copies of Murders and Acquisitions. Each player must attack, heal, or draw. Starting with you and go to the right, you repeat all the choices. Interesting. There's a rule for that one. I did see that. Just going to quickly... as it says, can you attack multiple players? No, all the attacks you make this card must choose the same player. Oh, I get it. So it's saying, like, so starting with you, you choose one. So if I heal, so I get a heal, then I get a heal a second time, or if I draw, I get a draw a second time, or if I attack the guy to my left, I attack them a second time. It's basically what that's saying. then if player B next to me, he chooses attack, he attacks someone, I have to attack them again. So basically just repeat the exact same action and attack the same person they attacked. Gotcha. Yes, so then each other player can attack different players with this card. Okay. Alright, then we have Liquidate Assets. He's got 2 copies of that, which say discard your hand and draw an attack equal to the number of cards discarded for a maximum of 5. And then we have 3 copies of Hostile Takeover. Attack all opponents, and then twice attack one opponent, and then 1 attack a different opponent. So it's a cone. That's kind of cool. I like that one. Surprised they didn't have that for Chain Lightning for someone else. Alright, then our final character is going to be Mimi LeChase, the Mimic. And I saved this one for last because it's actually, from what I've seen, it's actually a very interesting character. Alright, so there's that. There's our special abilities. We got 3 new ones. So that's kind of odd if they had 1 character that had 1 repeat ability. It would have been actually neater than if none of them repeated. So our Mimic is a well-fitted hat. We got 2 copies of that. Gives him an attack and play again. 1 copy of Not a Mimic. Really. 2 defense. 2 copies of Non-Carnivorous Couch. Gives him 2 attack and 1 health. 2 copies of A Delicious Pie. 2 attack and draw again. 2 copies of Probably Just Dirty Socks. Lets you draw 3 cards. 2 copies of Actually an Empty Chest. Lets you defend and draw a card. 2 copies of A Potted Plant. Honest. Gets you a defense and an attack. Got 3 copies of Definitely Not a Trap, which are 2 attack. Pile of Harmless Rocks, 1 copy, gets you 2 attack and a play again. 2 copies of Just Another Coat Rack, 2 health. 2 copies of Completely Safe Door, gets you 2 energy. Power cards, we got 3 copies of A Book Cannot Bite, Apply Dentistry. Use the top listed mighty power of the player to your left or right. So that would be like on their card, wherever their top power is. So it's kind of neat, so you kind of gotta keep those out. It's Not a Trap, we got 2 copies of that. Make one player's hit points equal to another player's hit points. And that could be good or bad. You could give yourself a ton of hit points or reduce someone's really low. And then his final one is Definitely Just a Mirror. It says, play this card as a copy of any other defense card in play. To do any other effects that that card also has. So that's our Mimic. And I really liked that. Because all the other ones had jobs. And that was kind of cool because it was all the just different things a Mimic could be. Which are, yes, or maybe jobs for a Mimic. It's a treasure chest or it's a pair of old socks. So that's Monster Madness. So that'll be the 6 monsters. So if you just like the monster cards, didn't really care for the heroes, just buy this set. You'll have a half-empty box, but that's alright. Or, buy just the 2-player deck if you just want to try it quick. Or whatever. Hopefully I'll get like a gameplay video of this up sometime. So you can see how fast it goes. I'm going to pause the video for a sec, fill the box up with cards just to see what they look like. And then we'll be right back. One moment. Alright, so I have everything in the box. good news, bad news with it. Just so everyone knows, this is why I did this. Instructions fit nicely on top, which is awesome. You just pull these out. So here's how they all look, and if you notice one big difference in there, I have all of them in there. They look really nice. I just sorted them alphabetically for the heroes and then alphabetically for the monsters. You can easily see, each character's name, what deck they're. There's a little bit of wiggle room to get your hand in there to pull one out without, without having to pull everything out by accident. And then you notice the black sheep of the family back here is the cards I sleeved. So they do fit in here, but because they're thicker sleeves, so I'm going to pull this out of the way for a moment, but because they're thicker, it's pulling up all my other stuff. So they do fit in there. Also, they're penny, I just use penny sleeves, so they're not even like high quality ones. So I just use these penny sleeves. So yeah, if you bought higher quality ones, they're going to even be probably thicker, so they might not even fit in here, because this isn't super snug, but it's enough that if I'm trying to pull it out, it's pulling out my dividers as well. So if you did that for every single one of these, they're all going to be pulling them out. Plus, you can't see the name anymore because these are a little bit higher, because these are standard card sleeves. These cards are just a little bit shorter on the side. They're not as wide. I'm sure you could go out and buy sleeves that are these exact size, but again, unless they're like the penny sleeve thickness, which I don't know if it says on my thing what's, let me just see if it says. So these are the ones I buy, are just a quick Ultra Pro. Yeah, it doesn't actually specify how thick they are, because I know some people are always it, but if you bought like your standard like trading card deck size, which are a little bit thicker because they're more durable, which again, they'd be standard cards, so they'd be bigger, they'd stick up like this. My tablet keeps freezing. Yeah, so there's one issue there. So I'm not, if I keep them in this box like this, just using their container, I'm not going to sleeve them. I'm going to unsleeve this set. Because even if I can find some like this, they're going to be really tight in there, and I don't know if I want that. Or alternatively, I'll just do my own thing. I'll sleeve them all differently. I'll sleeve them anyhow if I buy the right size sleeves, if I can find them cheap enough. I'll just sleeve them all, but I'll end up using a different divider. So that's just for anybody. If you're looking at sleeving your cards, you're going to probably want to use a different box setup. If you only own half of them, then you can put these every two. If you only bought just the monster box, you can just do every other one. That'd probably be fine too. But otherwise, it looks really nice without them being sleeved. The cards are, they're regular card stock. They're nothing, start at home. You start shuffling them, your edges are going to get dented and stuff. So if you're not someone that really is that concerned about that, like you buy games to play them, they're going to have wear and tear, this is probably fine. But if you're someone like me that likes to sleeve all their cards, this solution doesn't work perfectly, because I have to, even if I sleeved all of these, I wouldn't be able to tell quickly who I have. It kind of defeats the purpose there. Other thing to point out, so here's the little deck box. So I filled it up. These little tokens are kind of flimsy too. So this also might be something I might just upgrade. Buy like some little red cubes or hearts or something and just use those. Because it's an entire deck box, so I dumped in all of them except for, because the box set comes with like little character tokens for all the current characters, all the heroes. I didn't pop out their extra ones, so I didn't have 2 copies. So I have some extra ones I don't need. But that's all the more it takes up in there. It barely touches it. Like, they probably didn't have to use this big of a box. I like the idea of it, just because it kind of hangs out in there. You can just pop it out really quick. But you could have got away with just a little baggie or something too, or just a space in there to, scoop your health tokens out. Would have worked probably just as well. So that's just how the box looks. I just wanted to show everyone, let y'all see what it looks like when it's filled, so you can decide what you want to do or if you like that or not. Alright, so that's our D&D Mayhem games. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you later. Bye.